There was tension in the exam hall. On Wednesday morning, the children all sat down early at 8 a.m. A smell of ammonia permeated the floor, causing the children to remain alert and focused. "Excuse me, teacher. Could you come here?" Kayla raised her hand, unable to ignore the test paper glaring at her. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. The 10-year-old Kayla Michaels was adept at spotting details. A challenging exam could make or break academic progress for her 4th grade classmates as they prepared for their annual FSAs. Students nervously thumbed through their test booklets as the atmosphere in the exam hall was tense. The test had to be taken every year. She was raised in Ferndale, Florida, by her parents. It was said that she had a sharp mind and a strong will. As a 4th grader, she went to the local elementary school. The FSA tests are dreaded by students every year, causing anxiety. It was no different this year. Teachers and students were stressed as a result. The exam hall was filled with hushed tension as Kayla sat with her classmates. When Kayla received the test booklets, she noticed a typo in the instructions. It was unbelievable to her. There was an error in the English test that they printed. A mistake like this on such an important test is inexcusable. Kayla raised her hand to correct the typo, feeling responsible for her fellow classmates. The quiet hall was filled with a nervous cough. Her voice wavered with nervousness as she said, "Excuse me, Mom." But the instructions said carefully instead of carefully. Taking a glance at the instructions, the teacher frowned. The mistake was indeed hers, she acknowledged. "Putting the first page on the table, Mrs." Watkins scanned it. "Nevertheless, the test has been thoroughly reviewed, and we assure you that there are no errors in the questions. Please proceed with the exam as scheduled." Kayla stared at her in confusion. As other children noticed the typo and began to side with Kayla, a murmur of agreement spread through the room. In exasperation, Kayla huffed. As tensions escalated, whispers and anxious glances erupted in the once orderly exam hall. Her question was beginning to make sense to all the other children. Within minutes, murmurs spread like wildfire throughout the room as the other children listened intently. "Yes, she is right," one child said. "What were the marks of whomever set the test?" another child asked. As a result, the students began to doubt the validity of the test. How could they perform at their best if they were given instructions that contained errors? Students were now restless and adamant, and the teacher tried to restore order. Soon it was like a dam had burst when someone shouted, "We demand a fair test." The chorus of voices grew louder, and Kayla's uprising inadvertently gained momentum. Watkins had the ability to control her students. In a panic, the school administrators were summoned to handle the situation. Children were warned that severe consequences would result if they did not obey the rules. Nevertheless, the students were united and wouldn't back down. If the school wants its students to learn properly, it shouldn't make mistakes. Kayla's words ignited a spark among her peers, and her words filled the room with an air of injustice. She was unanimously supported by them. She didn't realize what she was uncovering was a much bigger problem. With the students rallying behind Kayla's cause, the exam hall was a sea of unrest. Would the children be able to write their exams peacefully? A few tears welled up in Kayla's eyes as she contemplated her options. Alternatively, she could have surrendered and accepted defeat. The chance of a fair test would be lost if she gave in. She made her first independent decision in her young life. While her voice quivered, Kayla addressed her classmates, summoning the courage to wipe away her tears. She said, "We can make a difference." They stared at her, their mouths dropped open. "We can stand up for what is right, no matter how difficult it may be," she spoke. The scene was like something out of a movie. Despite Kayla's peers' support, the teachers weren't impressed. The exam had been stopped by her. This uprising, however, did not please the teacher. Students who failed to comply with the test rules were sternly warned and threatened with serious consequences. The students were not backing down, however, as a spirit of rebellion had taken root. Despite the ticking clock, the children remained unyielding in their resolve. During the exam, they continued to play. The parents of some of the children had already been contacted, and some of them were already on their way. As a result, the school administrators canceled the exam. In the entire school district, shockwaves were sent as a result of the uproar that had grown too significant to ignore. As word spread about the cancellation of the exam, local media debated the importance of fairness in education. The story was covered by all media outlets. TV news vans were parked outside the school. Parents enraged by the situation were giving statements to reporters. At 7 p.m., the news highlighted the story. It was Kayla's only option to leave. Despite being proud of herself for speaking up, Kayla was concerned about the repercussions outside the hall. As the test was being administered, other children kept questioning its fairness and the authority behind it. If the teachers were to decide, what would they do? Upon learning of Kayla's behavior, her parents, Michelle and Lee, felt a mixture of pride and worry. They discussed their plan while rushing to get their child. Kayla's future, however, overshadowed all else, and they decided to file a lawsuit. They didn't realize how big this was. Kayla took the stand in a thrilling courtroom drama, nerves and determination blending together. She expressed her conviction that the FSA testing must be questioned today. With remarkable clarity, she explained her reasoning to the judge. Everyone in attendance found her argument compelling. Education was rocked by the verdict. Defamation of character charges were settled for Kayla and her family. Robert Domingo, the governor of Florida, heard about Kayla's victory shortly after. After he realized that the FSA testing system was flawed, he decided to change it. With immediate effect, Governor Domingo signed a bill eliminating the annual FSA testing for Florida students. Rather than relying solely on high-stakes exams, a progress monitoring system was implemented, which helped assess students' growth and development over time. Does this answer meet the needs of the school system? Her peers and educators across the state admired her courage and respected her as a symbol of change. As a result of her brave actions, the education system has become more equitable and student-centric. Unintentionally, Kayla's bravery ignited a bigger movement, inspiring other students to call for similar changes to their examination systems. Throughout Kayla's life, she was a brilliant and compassionate individual who always stood up for what she believed in. She had the intelligence to better the world, and her parents were proud of her. Throughout her life, she made a significant impact on education policy, and her name became synonymous with positive change. Education in America was forever changed by this event. Florida ended mandatory FSA testing after a typo on a test paper sparked an uprising. As a result of Kayla's efforts, her teachers and peers have changed for the better. Kayla Michaels, a 10-year-old girl with unwavering determination, made it all happen. In small packages, dynamite can be found.